Hey, we're back. We've got an artifact in a Cusco. We've got it only slightly displaced in time, Nita. And we've got a very disappointed space dad, Urbot. Yay, I don't have to be disappointed space dad. Someone else can do it we can have Urbot do it. Yeah, what's next, friends? What are we doing? I think we're GTFOing, right?
I think so,
We
yeah.
gotta escape, right?
Yeah, that sounds great. Sean, would you like to make a pilot roll to get people the F out?
Yeah.
I think as you folks are climbing out, because we need it to be dramatic, all right? Like this is a space opera show, so like let's be clear about this. This is a dramatic moment. So like clearly like the walls are crumbling and some of those hexagonal tiles are falling out after centuries or whatever.
Like bursting out of ventilations and
yeah. And you know how like we see that like weird lens flare that we established that lets us see sort of what's going on in the weight energy of the thing. And so what we realize is that some of these like giant space seals that are erupting in different vectors out of like the core of the planet or whatever are like reaching over and like biting onto invisible way lines and like starting to drag the planet like off kilter. It's wild stuff that's going on. It should never be happening to a planet. In that mode, you folks are about to try and blast off and not get cornered and bad things happening to you. So Sean, would you like to give me a slightly desperate helm roll to A, avoid terrible things that are in the Atmo, and B, avoid, pursuit?
Yeah, I love it. Nita's going to run in. I'm going to keep playing Nita. Nita's going to run in. She's like, oh man, get out of my way. We've already blown up. And I'm playing my displaced in time in reverse. And I know it's a wound penalty, but I'm going to use it as a motivator in this place. And I think she, punches it and like some way tendril comes slamming down right where we were. And yes, it's desperate. Desperate. What's the effect? To get out of here, desperate standard. We break free.
I'm gonna say limited. I think that it's gonna get you to like out of Atmo, maybe into orbit, and then you probably have to make like I don't think that you can in one roll get away from both the planet and the agony. How's that sound?
But what if I'm an ace pilot and I get potency on speed related
rolls?
So
then maybe it's standard. Pilot, let's go.
All right. Cool. I think I'm gonna push myself. Does anyone want to assist? Nita, Ula, will you be firing up the afterburners?
I can burn those engines up for you.
Nice.
I kind of want to see just a very short scene of Ula or a brief comic panel of Ula looking at the artifact, looking at the engines, wondering what I can do with. Nope, I'll experiment later.
I love the idea. Like maybe I could plug this in. Maybe I can make that work. All right, so I'm gonna roll my helm. Plus, does my wound penalty apply to this, Josh? Does displacement time apply? I can totally see it applying or not applying.
I'm going to say yes, only because you're dealing with a lot of mystic nonsense. Does that sound fair?
Totally. So I think I've got my wound penalty. Now, question about Leaf on the Wind. Leaf on the Wind lets you spend 3 stress to get +1 effect and +1d. Could I instead use it to get +1d and negate my harm penalty? Because normally you can push to negate harm penalties.
Oh, that's right, because you can push to ignore harm penalties.
Is that a fair use of the?
So I have bad news for you, Sean. It's very bad news.
What's that?
Which is that you can't push to ignore harm penalties. You can push to ignore the effects of level 3 harm penalties because level 2 and level 1 are handled by effect and dice pushes.
Okay.
It's a weird technicality in Blades, but it's one that I realized ages ago in Core Blades, and it's something that we carried forward, I think, in Scum, but disappeared in Band because wounds are handled differently in Band.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I believe the rules are
all right. Awesome. So I'm going to push myself. I'm going to still use Leaf on the Wind because taking 2 stress or 3 stress doesn't matter right now. So I'm going to go up to Desperate Great Effect. I think Great Effect is, it looks like we were blown up. Like there's a big explosion that happens nearby. Like we're not on anybody's radar. We are
the flare from the jets.
Yeah, exactly. A flutter from the jets. Somebody sees something, and it's like, oh, they must have died. In
Okay.
the way, that's the extra effect I want. If I pull it off. So I've got a helping die from Ula, which will negate my wound penalty, and I'm pushing. So I've got +1.
So I was right. Page 12. Take action if you're incapacitated is the third thing you can push for.
Got it. Nita pulling it with the barely succeeding. All right, I got it. I got a 4.
So a 4 means that you do it, but not entirely, I think. So I think I'm gonna be, wow, this is like super mean. You're like, how mean do I want to be?
Bring it. We're escaping this planet. Bad things are happening. We can resist consequences.
Yeah, I think what it is it's two bad things, right? Like one is, so I think you're escaping this planet. Let's just acknowledge that's what part of what the success means. But I think that you do not also escape like notice and stuff. So I'm saying your effect is not great. It's back down a little bit to standard, you know.
Cool.
So, and then the other thing is that I think that, did you just mention that you're flying through giant explosions and parts of the planetary core rupturing because it's being displaced in its orbit and things like that?
Yeah.
In order to try and hide your trail. Cool. So I think this is where your wound manifests, which is that for a second you get displaced in time, you make a wrong turn. It's not because Nita's a bad pilot. Nita's an amazing pilot. It's the fact that you're dodging something that's not actually there yet.
Yep.
And so I think that yeah, like I'm about to say something horrible, and then we're going to resist the consequences, which is that your ship takes level 3 harm. Like your ship is wrecked. And so I mean, alarms blare. There is physical impact on the ship. Shit lights on fire. Things are going to be bad. I'm going to take a look at your systems here in a second and tell you everything that's broken. But yeah.
I mean,
What's up, Jen?
I have fixed. I can expend my special armor to resist the consequences.
You used it last time.
Oh, all right.
But what you can do is, actually, let me double check. I think armor resets at the start of a job. You didn't roll your engagement until after you used that, which may give it back to you. What it would do is it would reduce the harm from 3 to 2. So you would choose which element is going to survive unscathed while the rest of it still gets broken. You're going to have to deal with.
I would say you also have an artifact that can like put us in a time bubble. Just
yeah, let's just loop it. Just play it back until we get it right.
I'm just saying that's a reasonable. When you say like I want to resist that with resolve, that's a reasonable way in which to justify a resolve resist.
Special armor. Christus, it doesn't.
I do think it resets at the beginning of the job.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's beginning of job or beginning of downtime, but I'm gonna say beginning of job for right now, and we'll look it up. If I made the wrong call, someone's gonna.
Yeah,
I'm sure somebody in chat will correct me. But Jen, let's say that you have fixed available right now, and you can spend it. And I'm gonna take a look at your systems. And I'm gonna tell you everything that's on fire.
Okay.
And then you're just gonna say no to one of them because you already have the power. You can resist a second one of them, but the third one's gonna stick. Is that fair?
Yep, that sounds great.
Let's take a look. Persephone. Here we go. Character sheet. All right. So I think. Ooh. All right. Wow. This is all bad.
It's all bad.
So I think your engines take 2 levels of, or no, wait, your. Let me.
Your engines can take 2 level of harm.
Yeah, I think your hull takes a level of harm. So I think your crew quarters have like holes in them, and I think your engines take 2 levels of harm. So your like gravitic generator is just like out, like on the fritz, like sparking and not fully connected, because you sort of put it together in 6 weeks with like, you know, some baling wire and twine. Actually, you bought some really nice parts, but
Yeah, it's tier 4.
Really high quality baling
I
wire.
think the big problem here is that your jump drive is offline, so you can't jump into like way lanes and you can't go through gates. Like I think like it's fueling, like, you know, the ship is running, like the engine's turning, and then like when it hits, like a bunch of power systems short out and it tries to like overcompensate, and there's like a fire in the engine room and it blows out some of the connections that the jump drive has, and that's damage as well. So those are the three things that are currently on fire, as it were, in one way or another.
I would like to resist the damage to the jump drive, please.
Excellent.
Feels like the most
and we've
important
already
part.
established that you've got some like overrides and safety guards, which you may have put back in place. Cool. So are the other two sticking, or do you want to resist one?
What kind of resist is this?
Consequences of a physical action. I think this would have to probably be, because this is not a consequence of not seeing something coming. This is not a social or mystical consequence. So I think it's gonna have to be prowess resist.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do a roll. For I mean, whichever I think is more like, if the damage to the hull is like threatening physical safety of people, right? I would like.
There's also a second way that you can do this. Which is, you can say, nope, that happens. I'd like to get some patch kits and go out and just put it together long enough to hold till the end of this mission, and then we can just make a rig roll and not deal with resists. It's just which way are you fixing the problem, right? Like if an engine room's on fire, we'd play out a cool scene where you put out the fire and handle the issue. Yeah. And if you want to resist it, then it's not on fire in the first place. But one of them potentially causes more stress. It's up to you.
Yeah. I will resist one of the engine damages, I think.
Cool. So essentially you've got, what does that look like? I'm just asking because the engine room's your baby, right? Yep. So like, what did you install that helps you like bypass stuff and put out fires and things like that?
Yeah, I think I actually, I think a while ago, maybe when I was doing the gravitic generator, right? I rigged up like a robot arm where like I can put my hand, my one hand in a glove, and I can work with my right hand, and so I can like displace my left hand halfway across the engine room.
Nice.
Okay. And also, oh, I see. You're using the actual like gravitic thing to like pick up stuff. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, that sounds dope. I didn't know if it was like an actual mechanical arm that like reaches into fires, but your hand doesn't burn, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't know if Ula was slightly more low tech or not. It's your choice. The resist works either way. I'm just for flavor.
I like the gravitic generator. I went to all that work to make the thing. I want to play with the cool toy.
Right.
Nice. I dig it. So you it looks like this like blue glow that telekinetically like picks up stuff and like turns valves and stuff like that. Is that what I'm getting?
Yep. I love it. That's great.
All right. Sweet.
Prowess resist. I got a 6.
Awesome.
Nice.
So it doesn't even cost you stress. Dope. All the fires go out. You shut off the appropriate things. You put up a partition, suck out some air.
That whole problem.
Put it back. Yeah, you still got holes. You're gonna be sucking at your Atmo's gonna be venting here in a couple seconds. What are you doing? Like, I mean, you're scrambling. You're seeing a lot of the things, right? Like Nita's doing this. What are Scion and Dipper doing while the ship's on fire and everything's terrible?
Screaming?
Oh, okay. That's fine. Like if the shot is just you in your room, like holding onto a chair while you're like flapping, going, ah, that's fine. Is your room one of the crew quarters that has a hole in it now? Is that?
Yeah, I figure like maybe mine like got a hole blown in it. So I like swam my way through the air, pulled myself out, shut the door, went over to Dipper's room, and I'm like sitting with like a blanket wrapped around me. Like I have like a hot cocoa.
Yes.
The way Eel looks very happy right now for reasons we don't understand.
It has wires running to its tank, right, from the previous sensor.
Yeah. Yes.
If this room is the one that has been less affected by time because the void eel's like, oh, this is great. This is like being home. Yeah. No, I think Dip is hanging out in their room, trying to keep the void eel safe.
Cool. So Ula, what are you doing in this whole shenaniganery?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I'm trying to do with the resistance stuff is just keep the ship functional enough to get the fuck away from this planet.
Yeah, the ship is flying.
And yeah, so I'm probably screaming and cursing over comms to Nita and Whisper.
Nita goes, brace yourselves.
Yeah,
because she's out of time.
that's amazing. Yeah, I think. Do we have some sort of like fancy flying plan we can get ourselves out of here with, Sean? Like maybe.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
no, we did it. We were at great effect, which is no one saw
No,
us
you
go,
weren't.
or they thought we blew up.
Your standard effect.
Hold
Oh,
on.
sorry. Go on. I'm sorry.
Hold on
I'm
a
sorry.
sec. and then the one of the consequences is they got reduced to standard. So like we made it to orbit, but we made it to orbit, but we are
Being tracked,
you know,
as it
there
were.
could be
Yeah.
So yeah, we can absolutely jump at this point. Nita is out of the scene, but I don't think that fictionally means that Whisper or her, she's rattled. She's trying to deal with this whole displaced in time business, but I think yeah, we can definitely. Is Hantu, what system is
Same
Hantu
one.
Gate in? I don't remember.
It's right over there.
Same one. All right, so yeah, we can plug in a course and start flying over there if it really gives us the heads up to fire to
yes. I would like to address those holes in the ship, but I would also like to put some distance between us and Onomega, with the tentacle monster arms coming out at us. Yeah. So yeah, why don't we jump, and then before we start doing other nonsense, Ula can like run out and do like a patch job or something. It's not gonna be great, but
cool. I think it's a good thing we have a co-pilot, and Whisper can take over to get us moving. Do you imagine we cut to, assuming there are not things that are chasing us down immediately? Do you imagine we cut to floating in space as you're outside?
We'll see if things. I think things are chasing you, but I think that Ula's right. I think that making a big hyperlane jump with your engines are functional and fine. I think it's your hull mostly being separated means that you can't go on the surface of the ship when you're not even in this reality. That's bad. And having holes in your ship when you're trying to jump is also super bad. So I think what it's going to come down to is let's see how this rig roll goes, because Ula needs X amount of time to like pour the quick set plasticrete nonsense that she's using to glue the ship together into the places and have it set before things go bad. So maybe there'll be some excitement here, maybe not. Maybe you'll just get a 6 and we'll say this is an easy game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Ula and Kuzco are outside the ship. Does anybody else want to be outside with me? Perhaps Dipper?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
conveniently doesn't need to breathe oxygen.
Yeah, that sounds like a good spot for Dipper.
Yeah, can you do you want to assist me, or can you? I guess?
Yeah, totally. Great. Yeah, I can fully assist.
Okay, and I am going to push myself, and I'm going to do a risky standard.
Yeah. Okay. The risk being obviously that your pursuit catches up, right? Like it's a timing issue. It's not a does my work.
Yeah, right. All right. I got a 4.
No, that's good. So this means that you will successfully repair the ship, but not before people catch up to you, right? Like that's what I'm saying. And if you want to have a fun scene where we resolve the problems with the agony now, then you say okay, and if not, we can talk about resists.
What do you guys think, friends? Or
yeah, I'm for facing down the agony. That sounds cool.
It's gonna happen.
It's a new scene. Nita's back.
Yep.
And Strash did promise us some juicy secrets for the agony.
So their 12 clock is terrifying. They're the only faction in the game with this like massive faction clock, and their faction clock is getting Planet Omega to go devour other planets. So that's what you folks were seeing. like I said, it's right in the book. When I read that, I was just like, "Are you serious? What was I writing?" And then I was like, "All right, roll
What
some dice."
kind
Like, yeah, this is a game apparently. So, anyway, sometimes it's fun to look back on your thoughts from a couple of years ago and go like, "Oh, right, I forgot about that. That's fun." So anyway, yeah, that's what they're doing. Is they're just displacing a planet that's kind of terrifying. But they're very scary, mean people, and they know that you took some of the important treasures of the planet, so obviously they're in pursuit. So did we say yes? We're dealing with the agony right now. That's the plan.
Sounds like it.
Awesome. So I think that there's this moment where like Ula is just like, I think and like you realize that their ship, like your ship, is not necessarily designed for space to space combat, right? Like you don't have cannons and rockets and other stuff like that, right? So like I think that their ship comes like translating out, like it does that burst of rainbow colors as it like shifts out of like some dark hyperlane into like the physical space. And you know, people are like, we got to get out of, and then it does a thing where it like flies nearby, and you realize that their ships are half organic. They've got some of that like black strange growth from Omega on them. They've got like weird tentacles, almost like they're sniffing space. It just does not look. It's got eyes. It's got yellow eyes that open like a hive in, you know, like some section of its like left hull. And yeah, like for the most part, you're just like, are they going to shoot us? No, they are not going to shoot you. What happens is a figure lands on your prow in space wearing no real spacesuit, and it's Lexol. What do you folks want to do?
I was gonna ask if it was Lexol.
It's totally Lexol. I mean, come on, who else can it be? We announced future madness like in episode 3.
Yep. Yeah, Nita wants to know if the gravitic hull is working, and she wants to punch this ship out of the way, use it like a battering ram to punch the ship out of the way. But
it's
I think
much bigger ship than you. It's got 2 layers of scale.
Okay.
Just so you know.
All
it's
right.
doable. Like you could come up with a cool plan, Sean. I believe in you. It's just hard.
But it's okay, because I think that before that happens, we have to deal with Lexol, right? Like, so Nita is thinking about the next problem, which is escaping the ship. But the current problem of there's a terrifying way creature on the hull is
Lexol's been upgraded from person to way creature. I love it. Carry on.
On the hull is, I think, maybe a Sign and Dipper, maybe an Ula problem.
Oh, Ula's looking at Dipper, being like, you want to get with the murdering, maybe?
If it's like already like booking it towards Lexol, and
so this is where we have to establish a couple of things. Question the first: you're helping Ula repair ships in space. What frame are you in? What is your load?
I know that typically for space stuff, I've hopped into the normal frame with like jump jets. That gives me that sort of space maneuverability.
Wings of Fire, I believe, was the description, but sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, Wings of Fire. So I can. It gives me sort of like fast flight and maneuverability. And
dope. I don't think we've seen this frame a lot, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
As Strash,
like eagle.
Remember working with you on it, and I do not remember what it does, so I'm excited to find out in the fiction. Go on.
Yeah, so I think we've established it looks a bit eagle-y, so like maybe there's some kind of protruding like sort of helmet beak aesthetic going on with like there's plasma wings of like fire protective shields that come up to block stuff. And yeah, I think when Lexo lands, like Dipper's just like sort of murdery instincts kick in and just sort of books it with those jump jets towards Lexol, pulls out the plasma sword, and we'll just try and use some of those fine martial arts skills to.
You have a plasma sword? That's amazing. Cool. So there's this unfortunate thing in Blades where in order to portray a truly terrifying opponent, I say a terrible thing and you have to resist it first before you get to do anything fun and exciting, which is you bust out your wings, you bust out your plasma sword, you go careening like a screaming firehawk straight at Lexol. Lexol stands up, looks at you, and as you come into range, he just backhands you into space with like several of his invisible way tentacles and immense amounts of kinetic force. What would you like to resist?
I would love to resist that.
Awesome. You should do that and tell me what that looks like.
Yeah, like I think it's a. You can tell me. I think that's how that works. I feel like it's a prowess resist if it's like something physical.
Feels
coming
very
at me.
prowess, yeah.
It might also be resolve because you need to see the way energies that are attacking you. He's basically
Oh,
hitting
yeah.
you with invisible force, but it's technically not non-physical. You can see it if you attune.
Oh, nice.
So it's up to you whether you're just flying some weird pattern, which might be prowess, like agility, right? Like to catch yourself, like boost engines, come back something. Like that's totally a prowess resist.
I love the idea that it knocks you away and you're just like fly back. You know, like we see you fly off for a second.
It's a classic Gundam move, right? Where you see the like engine flare, like, you know, thousands of meters away, and then it just like, wah! Right? Like flying in with your fire burst bigger than you are, right? Like tiny person,
totally.
giant
It's
engine flare.
that kind of narrative bait and switch where Dipper goes flying into space and there's like some of the eerie silence, then there's like the whoosh, just like Dipper comes back with those.
Oh,
I
Also,
love it.
it's-
Yeah. Do a
it's
prowess
also-
resist.
It's
Sounds
also
dope.
such a good callback to last time this happened to Dipper and they got trapped on a, you know, they
Were in the heavy frame. Heavy frame has
Yeah.
no jets. It's
Exactly,
all,
right?
all limbs.
this is
learned.
Dipper being prepped, right?
Sorry,
yeah.
I heard the blip of the resist. I was on the wrong window. Oh, that's 6. Cost you nothing. Awesome. Yeah, so you want to go toe to toe with Lexol. Yeah, and I think that Lexol has like limbs designed to like rend rend metal, and they have subjected. So the reason they're called the agony is because when they implant these way creatures into themselves, they're in permanent massive amounts of pain. And I think that when you do harm to Lexol just like in wrestling they call this a no sell, right? Like where you know, usually like when you club someone, they're like, oh, right, like that hurts so much. And I think that like, you know, you'll hurt them and he'll just be like right, like he's got that like, I am impervious to pain because I'm edgy. Let's
I'm an edgelord. Yeah.
yeah, he totally
Up
is.
close, and he's just got
Yeah.
like black dyed bangs swooped down like back.
He's got multiple eyes and weird blue skin. I'm sorry, no bangs. I don't even know if he has hair, so he may be too edgy for hair. Cool. Yeah. So let's do this. Let's talk about this, Lauren. What position do you think this is? Let me make a giant clock for Lexol. Like he's pretty scary. He's pretty scary. So, you know, I'll give him like a 10 clock.
Yeah, I think it's pretty desperate going after this like sort of way void creature upgraded being with like physical physical combat.
Oh, wait. I have a neat no, I don't. I lied. Oh, well. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You said it's pretty desperate?
Yeah, I think it's pretty desperate. And because I have Daredevil, I can make that a plus D instead of taking some experience points. So I'll do that.
Nice.
If you need an assist, I can just like chuck crap at it.
Yes.
I would love to assist you in that and distracting him, maybe.
Right. Because you're on the hull too,
Correct,
right?
yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, check this out. Is this? I think I did the thing.
Yeah.
see a
I
clock.
think it's there. I need to move it a little bit. Oops, it's visible.
Sean, I leave that in your hands. I'm just gonna.
It looks very cool. Alright, I'm
It's
gonna move some stuff around
actually
so it's
from. I found it on the. You can buy it on itch. It's like a $1 or $2, I think, and the files show up, and then you can assemble them. But I think you can buy it on Roll20 now as well, which would be vastly more convenient. I think I got it on both, and I think I just imported them, which is why I have like one in the in the token section and one in the like
Roll
uploaded
table
images
section.
section or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a there's a Blades person who made a bunch of sci-fi clocks, and I think that they're super rad. So I'm using them here to like get my little stars from the Scum and Villainy packet uploaded. So this is gonna be the Lexol clock, right? Show nameplate. All right, Dipper. So this is desperate. I'm gonna give you a standard effect because I think you're an awesome combatant with martial arts and you're a wrecking crew. So yeah, take it away.
Okay, cool. I got Jen's assist. I get the dice from being a wrecking crew when I strike in melee, and then I also get the dice from Daredevil.
Yep. If you want to spend a gambit, you can get a die and plus effect.
Would that be okay if I spent that gambit?
They don't get a say.
Oh,
You
There's
can just do
one
it.
there.
Okay.
You take it if you want it.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. It should give me great.
It would give you the die and great effect.
So I'm gonna take this gambit away, just because it's going away now.
Yep.
But you got everything, so you're probably gonna get a mauling hit here. I'm expecting it. This is the most dice you could actually get in Scum and Villainy.
How many dice is that? What's the max?
+3 dice. 1 wrecking crew, 1 from gambit, 1 from assist. +4 dice.
1 from push, yeah.
Sounds good.
Oh, were you pushing as well?
I
don't think so, because it's 1 from Daredevil.
Yeah,
assist,
that's right.
Wrecking crew, Daredevil, gambit.
Yeah, wrecking crew, Daredevil, the assist, the gambit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, take it away.
All them.
I couldn't.
That's
Look
okay.
at that.
Okay.
They need it.
I think that 6 is like key though, right?
Mm.
All right, so I'm gonna set it to 3 here. So let's talk about this. You do not take harm. You do not get wrecked. You do make significant. I think it's probably there's this moment where like you hack at right like I feel like so a killing blow doesn't happen because obviously Lixal is like catching her arm and wrapping it up in one of their tentacles and like keeping that sort of from going through them. And I think that there's probably a key moment somewhere in the fight where, right, like something comes chucked across space and sort of like clubs him in the head that he doesn't see coming from Ula. But why don't you describe a little bit about this fight? You're in control, right? Like you're not taking hits, but Elixal is a powerful opponent. You only managed to land a few licks, right? Like what does that look like?
Oh yeah, well I think like the initial you get that sort of hawk-esque like sort of cheers like Dipper comes in sort of I think like compacts himself down a bit, has the sort of void blade, the plasma blade out as like as if it is like a beak or some kind of piercing instrument, and then just sort of like initially rips through Lexal, and then when that momentum loses, it becomes more of like that hand to hand, like slipping out of Lexal's grip using those fine martial arts skills. And I think like Dipper gets like a really good hit in, and like sort of Lexal grabs the like sort of plasma blade then to sort of like pull it out, and Dipper wasn't expecting that, and like I think gets like sort of flung off with another like sort of push and sort of spins out of combat. And I think that's like that's where that probably ends is like just losing some of that distance and some of that momentum.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's exactly what happens. And I can totally see some of these shots, like when you're saying, like when Lexal removes it, like I can see that like lance-like strike initially, and this thing is in their gut, and they're fighting you, and there's like a moment where they like throw you, right, but you like flip out and use your like talons to like catch onto the hull, and they just like reach down and with disdain pull out like the plasma blade, just sort of like flick it, like, and it goes like rotating dramatically against that like void of space. All right, cool. So we know what's happening on the hull here, even with the occasional monkey wrench being thrown from the distance. What are I assume Whisper is attempting to not get grabbed by tentacles from a horrible spaceship. Scion, what are you doing? I really want to know, because last we saw you were in a thermal blanket drinking some cocoa.
Look, I feel like that's a really good place for me right now.
Okay.
Man, so like something lands on the hull, and I think Scion probably clocks the like roiling cloud of weight.
Absolutely.
He's rolling off of it. So I think oh wait. All right, Strash. We see this plasma blade go spinning across the void of space, and we think things have just gotten really bad for Dipper. And then we see it slap into a hand. Can I do that? Is it?
Yeah, do it. No, that's amazing. I love it.
On his suit, he jumped out into space.
Yeah.
He like climbed up on the hull, grabbed the blade, and now is like running forwards to like strike at Lexal's back.
So good.
Oh, good.
Together, Dipper. Let's teamwork
That's right.
this. All right, cool, awesome.
Awesome.
So do you want to lead this scrap? Is that how this works?
Sure.
Okay. Is this a group skirmish scrap? I forget skirmish. I think it is. No, scrap. It's scrap in space. That's right.
Scrap in this one. So group scrap means better rolls,
Mm-hmm.
but we're both implicated in the problems.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas individual scrap means more rolls and we're each implicated in separate problems.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in this circumstance, we actually want separate scraps.
Rad.
So I think what I want to do here is like, can I just like scrap as a setup action?
Yeah.
I just want to like.
You're trying to make yourself a nuisance and look for openings so that Lexall can't bring full weight of space eel limbs to bear on Dipper, because if Dipper gets pinned, they might get wishboned. So yeah.
Yeah,
I think you can do that. You're exposing yourself to. I mean, this is desperate. You're exposing yourself to a lot of harm potentially.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I've got stress to spare. I've got my heavy armor on. Like, we can play with this.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and roll it. Dipper, do you want to assist me? Can Dipper assist me on the setup action?
If you're so the thing is, you cannot assist somebody when they're as part of a group action if they're part of the group action. So people inside the group action are all bound by the same sort of pools. But on a setup action, you can, right? Like Dipper can absolutely do that. What does that look like, Dipper?
I think I just want to like I love the idea that Lixel hasn't quite seen Scion, and so like if Dipper can keep Lixel's attention by like kind of like engaging him and being
keep the pressure on. I can dig it.
The pressure on. Yeah.
Is there a specific thing that you do? Do you like just charge in? Do you like rip up a section of the ship and chuck it at him? So sorry, Ula. Do you like what does your pressure look like?
Yeah, I think like I would feel too bad to take off some of the ship without Ula's permission. So I think it's like we get that cool effect of like jump jets like going on and off, like sort of left and right, and just kind of like being a bit like over there and then over there, and then kind of like sort of fake out Lixol.
Yeah, all right, that sounds dope. Spend a stress and you look awesome.
Can I throw an idea out, Lauren, to compliment that? You were just doing this like spray on mold to repair the hull.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know if any of that stuff like looks like fire extinguisher
Sure.
spray when it comes out or anything like that, but I don't know if you can like spray that in his face, you know, as you're like as you're dancing around, because you theoretically have this like spray on cement, right? Like
that's a really cool idea. I love that.
If you like,
yeah.
Cool.
That's actually the kind of move I'm expecting from Ula.
I don't want this to be a setup action. I want this to be an actual attack.
All right, do it.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Sounds good. Get some segments on there.
Scrap. This is desperate standard.
I'm about to say something mean, and I want you to contradict me and tell me why it's not true, which is I feel like it's limited because Lexall's got quality / potency on you. Like he's kind of a beefy badass from a tier 3 faction. He's like one of their heavy hitters.
You know,
I said standard for Dipper because Dipper is designed for combat and a wrecking crew and a known potent fighter in the entire galaxy and has plasma blades and shite, and like I don't know. I want you to tell me why this is not limited here.
Yeah, I don't think there is a reason why it's not limited.
Okay,
I
didn't want to be unfair. I feel like I'm but what I'm saying is like Lexell's is a really powerful opponent, and you're making progress. It's just not going to be a lot of progress. Like I think you're fighting him where he's strongest, which is like he's got a lot of weight sensitivity. He's pretty prepared, and yeah, I think you're just like a little outclassed here, if that's okay.
Yep, that is
right.
Okay.
I have a justification if you want it, Saban. You can do this, but you have super high tier armor that you got from your family that we have as one of our crew moves, and you're also carrying Dipper's plasma sword right now. you aren't ill-equipped for badassery fighting. I don't know if that quite levels at standard. Maybe that's still limited.
So the
but I do
problem
think
is that you folks
some
haven't been leveling your crew quality.
ones.
So your crew quality is 1, which means
Sure.
that with high quality weapons, which I believe you can have, you would still be crew quality 2, which means that you're still
Makes
outclassed.
sense.
If you were crew quality
Cool.
2, I think that argument would 100% hold water, Sean. It just, in this case, I
Yeah,
think
that makes
he's
sense.
just ahead of the edge, right?
So we're going to see the benefit of that armor in just a second.
Sounds good.
I
All
love that
right.
you're already planning to take harm here, Zion.
You know, I got to go into.
No.
When you step
Prep,
in.
prep for them 4 to 5. Let's do it.
That's right. Born to succeed at a cost. All right, here we go. Yeah, there you go.
155.
There it is.
Delicious.
Crit fives.
This is where I tell you so. You're gonna take 3 levels of harm. And you know, this dude is pretty scary. So
What is he striking at me with?
actually, you know what? I'm gonna say a terrifying thing here, and then you're gonna tell me no. You ready?
Yeah.
You die. So I think it's that moment where you like pull out your sword and you're like, everything on the line. I'm putting it all in this gambit.
Yep.
Let's go. And he just like there's just like a moment where like, you know, he's his like forehead glows with the same yellow eyes that are on the side of that ship, right? And you realize that maybe in some ways he's communicating with the ship. So like Dipper's got pressure on and he's using like maybe 75% of his like weird telekinetic way eel like tentacle limbs to like fight them. And I think that but like as you're coming, you don't see it. It's just like a knife blade that's invisible, and like in an anime moment, this is where like you're landing the sword stroke and you make the irk, and then we realize that there's like blood coming out of like 2 sections of your armor as this thing has like gone through. Oh yeah, except and now you're gonna tell me some cool stuff like how you don't die.
Yeah, I'm just gonna prowess resist this. Is that level 4 harm then?
It's level 4 harm. So if you prowess resist it, it becomes level 3 harm, and then you can armor it further, or you can armor first and then prowess resist, however you want.
Yeah, wow. Well, I'll prowess resist first and then armor after that.
So on a desperate action, you take level 3 harm, but because the man's got kind of like effect factors on you, right? Like he's big, he's powerful, he's got quality, blah blah blah. He does +1 effect, so it takes it from 3 to 4. That's how it's calculated. Yep. I promise I'm not being a cheatery asshole here.
Oh, no,
but fortunately, you have the tools to resist. So you just tell me how cool you are.
Here we go. Prowess resist.
All right.
Blue, I take 3 stress. Ouch.
Awesome.
And then I'm going to spend, I think 2 levels of armor. I'm just
you got heavy armor.
Cool. So you take level 1 harm. Yeah. Slightly weight yield. I don't know. Like, I think what happens is your armor buckles.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact,
or something.
So I think you go flying, and you like catch onto some like antenna or something, so you're not like floating in space now. Mm-hmm. But I think that like you like have to hit the like reactive plates off, and we see like that the impact like actually dented the metal, and like there's horrible bruising because it didn't just like dent the metal. Your body was beneath it, and the pressure was so high that the thing that gave was soft and squishy. Yep. So yeah, you probably have like some rib bruising and like some serious. You're probably gonna see blood in your toilet for the next couple of days here. It's not pretty, but you're not out.
All right, cool.
Cool. Dope. But also, yes. Did you push for a fact or anything like that?
Nope.
All right, I'm gonna put a tick on. Ooh, tick on there. Hang on. 1 tick. Perfect. Cool. All right. Dipper, Ula, what are you folks doing?
I'm probably going back into the ship. I think my use will be limited out here.
Yeah, you're just like, you know what? This is terrifying. That dude's terrifying. I'm gonna get the ship ready to jet. I'm gonna see if I can assist.
Jen, I have another request that for Ula to do something on the ship if you're interested.
Of course,
in
yes.
It. In the bounty hunter fight, our grappling arm got damaged, and it is It is offline right
Okay.
now. I don't know if Ula could rig something up so that Whisper or Nita could use that, because I think, we've talked about, can the grappling arm grab something on the ship? It's limited, but I think if Dipper and Scion can push Lexol in the
To a
right
specific,
place,
like, can you get him to stand on top of the cargo
yeah,
bay?
yeah.
yeah, exactly. If they can push into the right place, that's where the grappling arm could reach, and we could help from the inside. But the grappling arm is broken, so I don't know if you're up for like emergency
I would
repairs.
love to do that, and Ula
Yeah,
fucking cursing you all for breaking her ship.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. I think the way it looks is like Whisper is like, okay, we can help. Puts his arm in the thing that the holographic thing wraps around it, and then he goes to move, and it's like it jams, and Nita's like, remember, old man, you broke that thing.
And Ula is just looking at him like, you what now?
He looks like sheepish, like,
Yep.
we were being chased through ice crystals. So if you're down for that, I think that's a way in which Nita or Whisper could help from the inside, because otherwise they got to be piloting and dodging this big ship. They can't really get in the Lexol fight.
Cool. So Ula, do you want to make I'm guessing this is a rig roll?
Yes, that's my plan.
What does it look like? Are you just like holding on to Cusco, who's like running along the hull of the ship to try and get to the arm faster? Like what is your like?
Yeah, I think so. I maybe even like get up on him like a horse.
Okay. Yes. Ride the llama.
I try not to ride the llama, which I try not to do, right? But desperate times.
It's also in space, right? So it's not it's not the same.
It's true. Yes, it's true.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's
okay. Sean, do you want to give me an assist? It's totally cool if you don't. I'm just not going to push because I only have 3 stress left.
Yeah, but I'm playing Nita. Like I'm describing Whisper's actions, but for this session I'm playing Nita, so I don't have backup. But I absolutely give you an assist.
Okay.
And the way that's going to look is that I'm like, okay, I'm trying it. Like she's on the other end, like testing it out, being like, nope, still jammed. And then I think she sees some like instrumentation readout. And she says, I see like a lot of red lights over there. Is that bad? She's giving you the readouts from the inside. So,
great.
Yes.
All right. Risky standard.
Yes. And I think the risk is that you might get hurled into space because they're doing maneuvers and stuff while you're trying to do repairs on the outside. Does that sound fair?
That sounds great.
I don't think you'll take harm from.
I got a 6.
Nice.
Well, of course you did. I mean, you're doing the engineer thing, right?
It's true.
So awesome. So I think that you absolutely repair the ship's little grappler arm, and it's under pressure while in space, while being jerked around. There's probably at least one moment where Cusco grabs your spacesuit, pulls you back into place, or whatever. Or maybe you're calm as a cucumber, fixing everything.
No,
and
I super love
behind
being
you.
like pushed back a little bit, and like my boots coming off the hull. Yeah, and then Cusco grabs me. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Dipper, what are you up to? I think Scion had a moment to shine here. I managed to survive a powerful blow by one of the most powerful mystics in the game, with minor rib bruising. What is your response after? I think Scion actually lended to telling blow, even though it was only like one segment. I think it actually like got through a lot of the defenses, and your plasma blade is still stuck in this guy now, right? Because like Scion brought it out of space, brought it in, jammed it into him. It's right there. What do you want to do?
Well, I think like we get that shot of Dipper where like Dipper puts a hand like behind their back and like grabs onto something, and then we kind of think that you can maybe on this frame you can kind of see spinal segments like the dead space with like this little health bar like glowy bits. And I think like those glowy bits like move as like Dipper pulls like a second vibroblade out from like their spine, because I have another fine vibroblade as part of my gear.
Awesome.
Vera.
Sweet.
No, hang on. Sunder. Yeah. So I think I pull Sunder out from my spine. And then sort of like I think again like drive that at Lexol and maybe to get him to get some blows in, but then also sort of cat and mouse him towards the Cargo Bay area.
I dig it. Did you happen to see the like Hades reveal, like 1.0 reveal trailer, little animation that they put out on the internet?
I did actually.
Super slick.
there's a scene where Zagreus is fighting a Hydra, and that's what I'm envisioning. Like these tentacles are coming in, and you're just like spinning your sword, doing wild dodges. There's sparks flying as you like. You're not trying to kill the tentacles so much as you're trying to like deflect them and keep them off of you as they're trying for killing strikes.
We get that cool shot of like Dipper's foot going down and like the blade protruding out of Lixel and like flipping over, like using every flavor
Nice.
over him and stuff.
Do you grab the other blade?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay.
Dual blade.
Yeah, dual blade Dipper. All right, yeah, let's do this.
And Ula just got a 6 on a risky roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means we got a gambit.
That is true.
So if you want to spend that for,
I'll spend that again.
Oh, is this how we're playing? Everybody tries for risky things to generate gambits so Dipper can get.
It wasn't my
Wrecking
intention,
Crew.
but I was
Okay.
like, oh,
Okay.
that's a pretty good.
Pretty good strategy.
I
Quick,
call
Nita,
that
fly us
system
toward the
mastery.
asteroid field.
Yes, a quick Nita fly through the asteroid field.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, do it.
What's,
Let's
What's my
put it
position?
together. Huh?
What's my position?
I still think it's pretty desperate. Lexal does a lot of damage. Like, you're not fighting somebody who's a joke. You're just doing really well, right? Like, one misstep and your life is forfeit is effectively where we're at, right? But like Lexal is definitely you're holding it at bay, but it's watching a master at a fight, right? Like every blow is a killing blow, except for the fact that you're not getting hit, right? Like
Nice. I can
so-
see it now, like the sort of with like sort of dueling like vibro blades, and then like a tentacle goes in, and then I have to jump back, and then I try and go in, and then like the tentacles go for a weak spot, and kind of yeah. So I'm
gotta
very excited about this.
take that gamble. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, let's do it. So it's a desperate skirmish.
Mhm.
Are you pushing yourself?
Yeah, I'll push myself.
Cool. So that's a die, and then this
A
is-
withering hail of blaster fire comes from the
Yeah!
far side.
Yeah,
There's the
You got an
assist.
Yeah.
amazing.
Nice.
I'm still a wrecking crew, and I'm engaging in melee, so I get a dice for that.
Yep.
What's my effect?
Standard.
Standard. And then if I add the gambit from
That's an extra
Uh,
die,
That's
and then your effect
and
becomes
effect.
great
great.
because you gain
And,
potency in melee combat. Let's
And
see
I
it.
get the Daredevil one again. I think it's the same pool of dice again.
Yes.
No, I think you push, so it's even.
No, you
one
push,
more.
so now it's +1.
So it's, I think you're 5 bonus dice right now.
4.
Wrecking Crew,
Wrecking
Daredevil,
Daredevil, the
assist,
assist, the push,
Gambit.
push.
the gambit.
Push. Yeah, you're right. It's the most you can have. That's right. It's literally all the cookies.
There we go. All the dice.
But you rolled all the dice, but you only needed the first 2.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Awesome. So let's see here. So it's going to be 2 for standard effect. Boop boop. And then it's gonna be +1 for the potency from Wrecking Crew. And then it's going to be another 1 for an extra effect from the crit. So what does this look like? Like Lexal's in bad shape. You've mostly taken this fight. Do you I think there's black liquid floating in space and those like warbly bubbles like they do. But
You got like little faces pressed against the inside of them.
what's the critical blow that you strike? Is there something you anticipate or do? Do you like somehow remove 1 or 2 of his tentacles? What does that look like?
It has to be like that hail of bullet, that hail of blaster fire like comes in from this side and like sort of catches Lexal off guard at like just the
Yeah, you
wrong
see
time.
like
yeah.
it's ending in like three tentacles that are like folded up to try and give him cover or something. Like it's in it. You can kind of see the shimmer of the eels in the blaster fire pattern.
And that's when like time slows down, and then like that second as like the plasma blade comes down on like sort of those tentacles, yeah, the more black stuff goes into space.
So I think that would have killed anyone. Like you actually take out like a chunk of person in that blow, right? But Lexal, like even though he's bleeding out into space, just sort of like clutches like the missing piece and just like looks at you like, I am more than human. I can do this. I can keep fighting. I can still win, right? Like I will face the hurricane because I am greater than it.
Mhm.
And this is where I have the question where if the repaired grappler arm grabs him and just
Yeah, I
like
was gonna
chucks
say.
him in
I
the
was gonna
nearest
say,
star.
This is
Looks up.
if he's been backed up to the cargo arm, this is where Whisper yells on the comms, "Get off my ship!" And I'm still playing Nita, but she grabs the grappling arm, and I absolutely want to Hulk smash him like Hulk Loki. I want to grab him and be like slap, 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 chuck, and just pull him off the,
Very
Amazing.
good.
just chuck him off the ship. That is
Sure.
my intent.
What action are you rolling for this?
Helm?
Yes,
Sometime.
helm is for ship weapons. That is correct.
Yeah. Let's see how this goes. Roll Anita. What's the position effect here?
Oh, I think it's not even risky. I think it's maybe controlled standard
Okay.
because you're using a ship weapon.
Against a person.
I guess the person is it's a very powerful person, but it's very unfair.
Yes. Does someone want to assist? Otherwise, I'm happy for Nita to push.
I'm a little tight on stress now.
Yeah.
I can assist. I'll assist.
Awesome. What's it look like?
I think I'm over the comms and I'm like, hit the such and such button and then the XYZ button. And
You're like,
I'm
we're still
giving you the combo.
recalibrating the hook. As you love it.
Up, down, left, right,
Yes,
A, B,
exactly.
start.
All right. Controlled.
I still remember learning the Konami code.
Up, down. Yes. All those dice only needed the first one. But
I mean, that's the motif in today's game, huh?
yes. Talk shit,
Right.
roll crits. We smashed the hell out of them.
I think it's done. I think Lexal is curse smashed, and
No.
I think all we need is a single roll to leave the organic ship with its grasping tentacles and creepy yellow eyes in the void of space and make your own jump.
Yeah.
Everyone aboard! Everyone aboard!
Get on. Yeah. So this is other than the two ships. There's nothing out here, right? There's no asteroids. There's nothing.
We can. I have a giant list of spacecraft. Like we can totally have a gaseous cloud, a rogue comet,
Perfect.
whatever
There we
you
go.
think is
gaseous
dope.
cloud.
Gaseous
We've
cloud,
got
yeah.
one in the thing, and I think this whole time we've been piloting, and Whisper's been trying to get us closer to this thing so that we can get out of view. And that's like right as you're getting into the ship, we submerge into it. We see the cloud go around us. As Nita's going to try and flies through this thing, and I think she's going to use the grav booster to make it seem like there's like pressure coming above us. So when the ship tentacles reach down and grab something, they reach and it's just like they're grabbing like the tentacle.
Oh, they're grabbing
force.
mist that you're
Yeah.
condensing and holding together. I can dig it.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
we're
that's
not pushing them; they're just grabbing the wrong thing. 'Cause they can't
Yeah,
see
you're
us.
dodging tentacles by not being where they're expecting you to. You're displacer beasting.
Exactly. We're displacer beasting with gaseous cloud. All right. What's the position effect on this one?
That's actually a really clever plan. And their ship is much bigger. I'm thinking about what their sensors are like. I'm thinking about what you have on board. I'm gonna say risky great.
Cool. Here for it. I think it's speed related.
It is.
as well. So that's risky extreme. Not that we need it, but
No, I need you to say it that way every time, Sean.
oh yeah, I will never not say it that way. All right. Anyone want to assist in this helm roll, or how are we all doing?
I can. I have 2 left now.
You got this.
I got it. It's fine. It'll be great, even if we get some consequences. There we go. Did it? But this is Nita's roll all night.
It's fine.
Mixed result.
You make it out. However, you're pushing that grav scoop. That grav scoop was blown out, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna use this. And when those tentacles go through it, they try, like the grav scoop tries to latch on, and it just Ula, where are you when the engine room is now on fire?
I think I'm in the on fire engine room.
Amazing. You're now in a risky position.
Yeah.
What would you like to do to
Accurate.
deal with this before you make the jump? You've only got maybe like 15, 20 seconds.
I mean, I feel like I would like to deploy the fire suppression system that is a little
Cool.
janky, but I built it, so it works.
I believe in you. So the question that I have is, what skill are you using to do this? I'm guessing that it, like the activation, like the button you need to slam to do this is like across the room and through some fire. Do you want to scramble there? Do you want to try and rig a bypass over here? Like what does it look like? Like how do you handle this problem? Because I think what happens is fire starts, the ship is now on fire, alarms blare, you start seeing the door coming down because like it doesn't want fire to spread in space, right? Because you mostly have an oxygenated environment. And so like you've only got seconds to react, right? Like what the engine room design on every ship is expecting you to do is to slide under that door and get out. But of course you're Ula, you're not going to do that. So so how do you want to do this?
Yeah.
You absolutely have a fire suppression system. That's not a problem. How do you do it in a cool space adventure way?
I think I do it with Cusco.
Okay.
I think I kind of like shove Cusco in the room before the doors close. And then like use some sort of heads up display or something to like pilot Cusco to tell it to hit that button for me.
Awesome. I'm going to tell you the saddest consequence, which is that you might have a very damaged Robo Llama.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, you should roll some dice. What is this? Is this rig? Is this hack?
I think it's rig. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So what you're saying is, I have been working on a rigged interface for Cusco, and Cusco's my friend. So what I'm going to try and do is get Cusco to do this via some like hacky rig interface that I can kind of vaguely use to get him to hit the right button sequence. All right. Yeah. Sure. Let's see it.
Risky standard.
Yes.
Okay. 4.
Cool. So I think it's exactly what we expected, which is, like the freon goes off. You're gonna have to grab some like oxygen masks for yourself because you can't breathe, right? Like the air is getting consumed by the fire. And I think Cusco is badly damaged in the process, and is a very sad and dying Robo Llama. What would you like to do?
I mean, I want to get the fire under control before I fix Cusco, but I would like to.
I think that's happening, right? Like the just coming from the ceiling, and there's like all of the appropriate, like we see it dying down dramatically, etc.
Yeah. Is this like a resist roll to resist the consequences of the?
You can tell me a thing, or you can just be like, F it. I will give Cusco a new life. I would like to cut his little Urbach core out and prep him for like transfer or something. I don't know. Like you tell me what the story is. Resist roll is fine. You definitely have the skills to repair him and try and save him.
Yeah, I think I want a resist roll because I don't think I want a different pet. I think I want this pet.
That sounds great.
Insight?
Yeah. Consequences of a rig action.
BT dubs. I might trauma BT dubs.
So the question on resist rolls always is, what are you willing to trauma for? And the answer is, my friend, is the best answer.
Right, exactly.
I like that answer a lot.
I do trauma.
Oh my gosh. So you save Cusco.
Yep.
But it really hurts your insides.
Sure does.
Is your trauma just that like you're obsessed with repairing Cusco and like then you're exhausted, and so like that's why you're out of the scene for a second?
So. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good. So I think that's it. I think you folks escaped these people. I think Actually, I think that's fine. That's like the end of the scene and everything. Yeah. So you can be back, Ula. It's fine. You should figure out what your trauma is. Welcome aboard the ship. Everybody has trauma. Sorry, I couldn't help
Figure out
myself.
what your trauma is. Never a truer word was said.
Do you folks want to have a scene? Like, are we gonna jump to approaching a gate? Like, what's the plan here?
Yeah, I kind of imagine like all of us crammed into the cockpit as we're like coming up to the Hantu gate, and like whatever we're all beat up, or most of us are beat up. We've taken trauma. The ship is a wreck. I feel like it's a great like, here we are at the final leg moment. I'd love to. I don't know. What does that sound cool to people? Do we have like this last scene together, or do people want little one-on-one things?
Do we need another job in order to open the gate, or is that Okay.
We're just gonna handle that with some rolls and some fiction.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to know if anybody wanted to say anything to anyone else before we do that.
This is like the pop-up of a video game. Like, you're about to enter the final mission. Make sure
Yes.
you're ready to proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You ready
yeah.
to arrive to town in inventory, or are you ready? Yeah.
No, it's
Ready.
totally up to you folks. Like just tell me. Sorry, I was, that scene was so intense. I was only paying attention to you folks, and I just saw there's like 30 pages of chat. Go
My
on.
God. Yeah.
That
same
was
here.
real into that scene. It was a very cool
It was
scene.
tense. It was very
Good.
tense.
This is very
Good one.
tense. Lexol is terrifying.
Sounds ready to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, I think this is weird because I'm playing between two characters, but I think Whisper is going to be like, to you know, to need to like to Ula, I guess, and be like, I won't play with two characters because that's awkward. So Whisper turns to Ula and is like, I made a deal with your daughter that I was going to help her, you know, with administrative work. Think she'll do? And like, this is after like Nita has done like all this like incredible ace piloting, and you know, like she's been amazing and done all this stuff, and she's like glitching in and out of time, and you know, but like nevertheless, she sort of looks to you like, you know, think she'll do as the next pilot of the Persephone. He doesn't say the last part. That's all implicit.
Yeah. And I think, Ula like nods at you, and then there's like a beat, and then she like gives you a big old hug.
Ah, nice. Love it.
Maybe a little longer than you're comfortable with.
Oh, that's so great. It starts off with this like really like great friend hug, and Whisper's like, thanks, Ula. And then it's like, Ula?
Yes.
I love it.
We had the exact same thing in mind for Dipper and Scion, where Dipper like hugs Scion.
Yeah. There's like that moment where it like should have gone on too long and become awkward for one of us, but it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, they're at words to express how great friends we are. This is this really big, long,
true.
friendly hug.
There's like a little void eel in the background making like a little heart swim shape.
Awesome. So yeah, you folks, this is interesting because I think I've taken a moment every time that we've gone through a gate to talk a little bit about what gates look like, right? And most gates have this bustle of activity, right? There's ships lined up waiting to come in, there's ships coming out, there's the chatter on the comms of messages that every ship carries through the gate because that's how mail is transferred. We see the you know, Legion ships in orbit defending it, and there's nothing. There's this like silence and scale. It's just emptiness, a ring so immense that your ship is barely a speck in front of it, and there is no one and nothing here. It's just empty, and it floats there, unmentioned, immense, and basically eternal, just hanging in space. What do you folks want to do? You're muted, Sean.
Josh, do these gates, are they preternaturally resistant to the effects of time, or are there like space mold and stuff on it as well? Like, is there signs of like shit growing on it over time because it's been abandoned for so long?
So I don't think so. I think it's basically like, I mean, remember that the thing that actually happens in space is micro meteorites and asteroids like will pockmark you over time. There is no like wind, so there's no erosion, and there's also no like plant life really. Like any space mold that you've accrued is actually just mold that is too stubborn to die, but it comes from a planet or an atmosphere. You picked it up somewhere, right? Like it doesn't. There are no forests of space mold that flow like tumbleweeds through space and occasionally latch on.
There's no cobwebs on it. Is what you're saying? You know?
There might be cobwebs inside it, but like, yeah, it looks so like gates are very, very, very resistant to damage. So like you can blow it up. You can like run a ship into it and, you know, like detonate an engine or something to try and like actually scar it or damage it or whatever. But their precursor tech and artifacts are notoriously difficult to break, right? Like people have dropped buildings on them and they've survived. So I think that what it is it like your ship looks like absolute garbage compared to this thing's like, whereas this thing was created like thousands of lifetimes longer ago than your ship. It's a testament to sort of like the absurdity of the tech level of the precursors.
Nice. I was gonna say something like it looks homey if it was like rusty or cobwebs or anything like that.
I agree.
But
the precursors make strange techno, sometimes organic choices that we do not understand, but seem to self-maintenance sometimes and just resist some things. Now, their stuff does fail, as we saw in the temples, right? Like over time, eventually glitches start happening, but whoever made the gates did a good job. Like they've lasted a lot longer than most of the other precursor tech without glitches. But as we can tell, some of the gates like occasionally do glitch. Like there's one between like the Rid-Holt sector opens to places where it shouldn't, and so far nothing's come out of it. But you know, sometimes it just opens and it's not to the place we expect. So yeah, it's sometimes there are glitches even with gates. It's just been that much time, right? Like it was never meant to function this long without maintenance or whatever. So yeah.
Cool.
What do you folks want to do?
Who's got those artifacts?
Yeah.
I'm assuming
I guess like
Ula,
I've got
I don't know.
one, Ula's got one, and Dipper's got one.
Yeah, totally. The friendship trifecta, but yeah.
And Nita is displaced in time. It's fine.
I mean, we need that too.
The Triforce of Time.
Yeah.
Cool. So what are you folks gonna put on some? How does this work? Like you don't actually know the process for activating these things off the top of your heads. What's the plan here? Are you just gonna float out and try something?
I think it seems worthwhile to like study the fly around, study the gate to see if if there's like the little like
Keyhole.
Insert.
Yeah, if there's a keyhole, exactly. Are there 3 little holes to for,
Yeah,
like, is there?
Didn't we have a dude on the ship for a while who was like into gates and
We
tech
did.
like
We did.
that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kai Ramos. Yeah.
So we could
You like-
flash back and just
Yeah,
be
that's
like,
what I was
oh
thinking.
yeah.
Do you want to flashback Lauren? Do you want to flashback to Dipper learning about the gates? I would do it with Whisper, but again, I'm trying to
I
keep
feel like the
fidelity here.
thing that we should have be true is that Ula has to like rig these things up to the star drive
Yeah.
and then like flare the star drive to like generate enough like 0-point energy to like kickstart the gate engine itself, and then that's what turns these things on.
Because like jump drives are actually what turns gates, like it opens gates, right?
Yep.
So like, oh, you have to play
That's
all
very
3 of
cool.
these in order to attempt to open this gate through time.
Yep.
That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. That's
And
dope.
I feel like Scion needs to first like attune to them to get them ready for this process.
We gotta, like,
So I'm
manipulate
saying,
frequencies.
yeah, I'm saying there should be some setup action here of Scion, like getting them all tuned right. Possibly
Yeah,
Scion
I
and
was gonna
Dipper.
say, I gotta-
Man, you're the
I
two
got
most.
one more stress I can toss out before trauma. So this been trauma, but I can totally
Trauma City.
toss you the assist for this setup action. Maybe like I have to be a conduit for some of it because I have part of like the artifact inside me, so I have to.
Yeah, right. You've got part of it.
just like tired, so he's like holding one of these things, and then he just looks at you and he says, "Dipper, you've got this one."
Dipper takes it and holds it close to like their core. Yeah, no, I'm totally good.
Which core?
Oh, I think it makes sense if it's like the second core with the other
Okay.
piece.
That's fine.
If it just no.
I don't know if it's your personal core and you're like, no, you're my friend,
Oh, I like that a lot better. Let's do that. Yeah, this is taking the artifact to the friendship core. I guess we're calling it now.
So I think I think I would like one last scene with some of the ghosts in your head, if you don't mind, for
Oh yeah, totally.
but we should probably make some rolls and then have it happen before whatever the last moment is here.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, so what I'm hearing is Scion is attuning as a setup action. Ula is rigging to get the jump drive attached to these things, and then we see where the dice fall, and Dipper, brings it home for a second. Is that true? All right, let's do it. Scion, why don't you tell us how you set everything up here?
Yeah, I mean, like, whatever we've got in terms of like the positioning of these things around the jump drive or whatever, like I'm just like in the room and like just sort of like feeling the wave frequencies emanating from each of these things and the jump drive at the same time, and just like nudging with like gentle flows of the way in certain directions in order to like make sure that they all align so that all their peaks and valleys, like maybe they're all at different frequencies, but like, once every 100 cycles they all like crescendo to the, all of the everything aligns. That's what I'm nudging.
I can dig it. Is it just like moving these like things in accordance to each other? Is it just like meditating? Like what would a viewer see in the physical world, as it were? This is absolutely what you're doing sort of like mentally, and we can see it sort of on a oscillator looking thing that's doing readouts or whatever. We're seeing the peaks aligning or whatever. I'm just curious, like the Scion that we've seen throughout the series, I'm trying to sort of like capstone and wrap up something. Like episode 1 started with, Scion and Dipper fighting on a hull. So we had to have Scion and Dipper fighting on a hull. But I want to sort of see the growth of Scion here. Like, are you actually like in some sort of mystic pose? Do you look like Horrocks? Do you have something of your own? Because usually you're just like, whoa, beers and jokes, like what does the mystic half of you look like right now?
Yeah. Like, yeah, I think like Scion pulls out a staff from somewhere and comes and like stands in the middle of this room and just like leans on it and closes his eyes and concentrates very firmly. And there's like just some little toggle hanging off the staff that his thumb is like brushing as he concentrates. You can tell it's actually Horrocks' staff that she's left behind on the ship from, episodes ago.
I can dig it.
Yeah, and like, it's one of those.
If you recall, though, Horrocks has like a very short stick because that's what she uses for side blading. But yes. I can dig it. Like, if I may suggest that it looks slightly more like a cane than a staff. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I also imagine this was maybe like not literally her staff, but
okay,
like
maybe it's a thing that she left because she knew that you would need it. I can love that even more.
Yep. And like, like the world goes like all like Scion standing on a mirrored plane of blackness with these 3 things like surrounding him, and then there's like, this pulsing eminence of the way that's the engine, and then there's like a twin cord pulse sort of off to over his shoulder. And yeah, he just like, we've got these white ripples of lines emanating from these things, and he just they start ringing like bells.
I can dig it. Why don't you roll and we'll see what the consequences are.
What's the position effect?
Risky standard.
Okay. What's up?
Did you ace that? I'm sorry. I was staring at your face.
I quit it.
Oh, well, of course you did. I mean, hell yeah. So I'm gonna give you an option here in a second when Dipper has chats with things from this plane. That sounds dope. So all your oscillations are lined up. Ula, do you wanna bring us home here?
Would love to.
Yeah.
This is a rig roll. Yes, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. That sounds great. Rigging a solution together with your jump drive, these artifacts. I would have accepted any number of things. Attuned, rigged, all that sounds great.
No, I'm best at rig.
Oh, that's fine. Roll your dice.
I'd like to give you the assist with Nita. Okay. She's in the cockpit and she's like revving the engine for you.
Nice.
Like you got like she's like, okay, tell me when you want power, and she's out on the other end like, just
love it.
Just tapping the pedal.
I'm also gonna push myself. So.
Do it.
Because I have a clear stress track.
Yeah, you do.
Risky standard?
You don't need to clear your stress track, just trauma. Go ahead. No, actually, I think yours is, I think it's risky just because you're dealing with tech you can't anticipate.
Fair.
But you have a setup action to improve your position or effect.
You can fix your position or your effects. You can make a control because Scion is handling all of the weird bullshit. Or you can.
Okay.
Also, we have a gambit now because Scion just got a 6 on a risky roll.
Oh my god! Oh my god! All right. So what do you guys think? I'm leaning towards increasing the effect.
I think so.
I don't mind it being risky.
Yeah.
I think the great effect would just be that you get more power than you were anticipating, which is good, right? Because you need a hell of a lot of juice to jumpstart that thing. I believe we established that it takes like the power of entire stars. That's like one of the comments somewhere in the Sun Eaters like credo. So
yeah, but I think we have the power of entire stars trapped in time in these artifacts.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so risky, great. I got my push die. I got my assist die from Nita. I also got a 6.
Nice.
So
no problems. This game's easy. Awesome. So I think that there is this like flow, like right before this happens. Like this happens that it's gonna happen on a 6. But Dipper, I just want to have some role playing with Lauren, if that's okay. I think that the ghosts in your head, in particular, like I think it's like they're having a conversation, right? And I think the teacher says, "Is this what you want to do? Is this how you want to, betray your purpose and your oath?" And a figure that you haven't seen before shows up. You've seen shadows of this figure before, right? Like it's a strange 4-faced Urbot who's the points of whose heads turn into crowns. So it's like 4 faces facing in different directions, and like occasionally the head rotates and a different face speaks because I get to do cool Urbot designs, so you can't stop me. So yeah, I think that I think what it says is stop pestering them. The purpose of any given prime is to do whatever they feel is necessary. And the teacher is just like almost like an angry cat. They're just like, this is why you were sealed away for all eternity. And what it says is, you were too, you foolish one. And like, so yeah, you're having like a little argument in your head. What would you like to do? Because they're essentially questioning. They're like, do you really want to do this? Do you think this is smart? Why do you want to do this? Right?
Oh, amazing. Oh, that's so good. I think like for a second Dipper gets lost in like I imagine this is a very echoic questions that are on like sort of repeat and like reverb and stuff as they're put to Dipper. And oh gosh, I think Dipper says I think Dipper does like this, like stop, like to get them to both like shut up.
Yeah, and your inner voice echoes through both your cores, and they do. Like you have the attention of the ghosts in your cores.
And I think Dipper says, I'm struggling to find the words to express myself because I feel like I only have the vernacular of organics to say what I mean. That may not translate. I don't know what my purpose is. I haven't known that for a long time. But I think what I'm gaining is experience. And what I've learned is you and I, we both operate on cycles. My cycles are a lot shorter. My cycles, if I were with a different crew, would probably be a year or so, maybe more, and I would be reset, and I would retain my basic primary purpose. And that's what you were doing too. You're also on a cycle. It's just on a vastly different time scale. And I don't want that. I want the organic thing of being able to change and adjust your purpose and grow and make mistakes. One of my best friends has made so many mistakes, has changed so many purposes, has broken off of his family. Are you gonna say Stephen?
I was just saying, hey.
But he is the dearest friend of mine, and I know he would sacrifice so much for me, for everyone else that we travel with. And I think I would like that to be my purpose. Caring for things and protecting them and helping them find their voice like everyone else around me has helped me find mine. And that includes yourselves.
I think that I think that there's probably a really cool moment. Like that's probably when the engine activates, if that's all right.
Oh yeah, totally.
And do you remember the giant white glowing figure that you kind of saw in the vision in the time lock state last session? I think you see it again sort of in this liminal space between then and now, right? Because this gate was activated a long time ago, but I think it's like its activation was locked in time, and I think it just like released in the past so that it kind of like flashes forward and continues working like now, right? Like, and it opens right to a world and a sector that no one's ever seen before. But when you're accessing the past, when this figure was still briefly alive, I think all it says is sacrifice and compassion for others is the only true hallmark of a person. And you get a and I'm gonna give Scion on your great effect the ability to hear and interact with this, like just in the way, right? Like, because this is via the way. Like essentially all it says is like what you sense, like there are no words. These are not words that are flowing so much as like concepts that resonate like through the way, which is that like essentially one of their greatest crimes is that they disagreed with the rest of the precursors on what the purpose of like their creations was, right? And the argument that it fundamentally made is that the infallible precursors could not understand everything and anticipate everything. And like in a way they're proud of you because what you've proven is that you've surpassed like the basic rigidity of the kind that they were created, and you have developed a new sense of what you were made for on your own without somebody else telling you what it is that you need to do, right? Like essentially what they're saying is like becoming a person is a two-step process. One, you have to realize that you're independent and autonomous and sort of like achieve your agency, right? Like activate yourself and become like, you know, a participant in the galaxy. And then two, if all you do is like wreck and destroy, then you are not a person in its opinion, at least. And what you're effectively saying is like, look, this is important. We're doing this and we're doing it for others. And it's like, that indicates to me that you're not just, you know, a selfish being that is only seeing to its needs, which is how like as far as it's concerned, that is how you define an animal. So anyway, that's the final moment. I think that the gate opens, and if it's okay in a dramatic flash, the ship can go through and be the first ship in the Hantu sector. By the way, just so that you folks know, the way that gates are named is they're named from like section to section. So it would be like the Rin Halt gate. You always name the first system, which is closer to the core, and the second system further. So like this is the Hantu gate because like there's a sigil somewhere on it that is interpreted as Hantu, and that's the indicator of what's on the other side. And so yeah, your ship goes through, and I think we just roll credits because we are done with time. There is no XP. I think this season's done. So that's where we're at.
Dang.
Amazing.
We did the thing. We opened the gate.
There's a roaring applause.
Wow. What a killer final finale.
Yeah, season finale.
Fight with Lexol, right? Like into the thing, stealing the artifact, fighting off Lexol, space chases, and finally open it up. Very cool. Yeah, I think we should all feel free to spend any time we want on this in this outro reflecting. I'm Sean Nittner. I use he, him pronouns. I have I played Whisper the majority of this game, and Whisper's currently at 3 trauma, and I really envisioned like him being at the place where he was like going to leave play, and mechanically he was this close. One of the reasons I thought about playing him was the idea like, well, if I have him trauma out, I know exactly where he's going to retire. But I love the idea that he stuck around to see this first thing, and that Nito would stay on the Persephone as the pilot. And this game has been fantastic. It's been wonderful playing with all of you. At the end of the games, we always do roses and thorns, and usually we're like, thorns. And then we kind of futzing around trying to find a few. Sometimes we have some, but often we're struggling for them. And then roses, we're like, gosh, all these things, blah, blah, blah. And just so you know, I've had a wonderful time with the chat, hanging out with us, and with all these wonderful people. And I love that hug in the end. That was, and I love Dipper's independence in the end. Those things made me real happy. So, how about you, Lauren?
Oh my gosh. I guess I'll do that. I've been Lauren at Yoshide. I'm at the Stray Kiwi everywhere. I have a lot of feelings right now. A lot of like, oh, it's over. I was like choking up a bit during that speech. I really enjoyed Dippa's arc. There was some cool stuff. I love spooky like robot ghosts and sad robot feeling. I like to think that from here on out, whatever happens in Hantu, Dipper takes on Space Parent, like sort of takes on that mantle off of like Whisper, and is sort of like galactic Space Parent for other like lost robots. And it's sort of with the sort of passing of the robot on Ono Omega, it's like, okay, like there's now an opening, a gap in like the hierarchy to go in and sort of like, you don't, like your purpose, like you can find it yourself. Like here, I will help you, I will mentor you, and sort of like take on a sort of mentor role. I think I'm rambling now. I've had too much fun. This is great. I'll chuck it to Steven. So good about Cyan.
This was a super awesome finale for a super awesome game. I had so much fun playing with all 4 of you. You're fantastic role players. This was great. Thank you to chat. Huge shout outs to everybody there who's watching today and every episode. But Prince, man, like their comments in chat were always just so great. Just every episode, there's like at least one line that we like message to each other and be like, oh my God, did you see what they said today? So thank you to everyone for being such a fantastic part of our chat. I'm Stephen Lumpkin. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me on the internet at Silent Osiris. The O is a 0. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with Scion. I had a really fun time with like that I like came into the character with just like the one character trope of like Paul Atreides from Dune, except he realizes that that's a jerk move, and so he goes off and does space adventures instead. And like, I don't know, I just had a really, really fun time playing with that and like exploring what it meant to be a mystic in this universe, and having good fun with all of my good space adventure friends. And of course, Zokar Zan was amazing.
I like to think that Scion and Dipper catch up over like space drinks.
Yes.
every now
absolutely. You know it.
And then, sorry, I interrupted. But Prince, thank you for all the Dipper fan art. Oh my God,
yes.
it's so good.
Yeah.
The art is so good.
Amazing. Well, that's the last thing I wanted to add. Thank you for all the amazing art. It's beautiful, chef's kiss.
Hell yeah. I think that's going to do it for me. So Jen, take it away.
I'm Jen Martin. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at 10penjen. This was fantastic. I certainly was not anticipating only playing Ula for one session and then immediately switching to another character. But it was really satisfying to be able to have sort of different utilities and interact with the other characters in different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to swing a Void Blade. That was really amazing. And it was really great. And I like the whole arc, right? And in my head, the thing that's sort of like the callback or whatever is like, Ula named the ship Persephone, and it feels very much like Persephone just went into Hades for 6 months, and maybe we'll come back to the system, and Samara and Nita can have their date. I don't know, we'll see. But I like that sort of literary reference. Strash, what about you?
Hey, I'm Strash, he, him. You can find me on Twitter at StrashA. I am one of the authors of this game. And I hope so. This was actually really satisfying because for completely real life reasons, I absolutely adore everyone on the Star Dancer crew from our first show ever on Actual Play. But for real life reasons, we didn't get to finish that campaign. And one of the things that I really love about games is I write games that have endings. So like we actually played all the way through the campaign and to the final, session, and I felt like that was pretty awesome and satisfying, and it leaves it on a really cool note. So I guess for the last time ever, I'm just gonna say smooth outro.